Ave Maris Stella.
Hello and welcome back to Vatican II in a Year. This is your host, Father Matthew Schneider. I am a priest of the Legions of Christ and a theology professor. This is a podcast on the Starcross Production Network at sqpn.com. Today we're on day 141. We are covering Christus Dominus on bishops. Paragraphs 39 to 41 on ecclesial regions. If you want to follow along, we have a reading plan and more details at sqpn.com/Vatican. Yesterday, I talked about the norms for Episcopal conferences. We're in chapter 3 concerning bishops for the common good of many churches. And today we are going to cover all of section 3.2, which is the boundaries of ecclesiastical provinces and the erection of ecclesiastical regions. So that's basically the summary of today. I have another line, but it's like almost exactly the same. So let's get straight into it. 39 is defining ecclesiastical provinces. So before we get into this, I want to explain a little bit about ecclesiastical provinces because it's kind of assumed by the number. So each diocese is under an archdiocese, and all the dioceses under that archdiocese are called a province, an ecclesiastical province, and the archbishop is called the metropolitan of that province. These aren't like Canadian provinces, and these can be could cover multiple provinces, or they can have multiple ones in the same state. Like for example, in California we have the province of Los Angeles and the province of San Francisco, whereas next door we have the province of Las Vegas, which also includes Utah, both Nevada and Utah. So those are the kind of examples of what we're looking at here with those, right? And there isn't really a lot of direct power the archbishop has over the other bishops. It is the first appeal for canon law and things like that. And certain things like if your bishop is doing things that he's not supposed to do, the first person to go to the report is the metropolitan archbishop. Anyway, so let's read the text of 39. The good of souls requires fitting boundaries not only for dioceses, but also for ecclesiastical provinces. Indeed, it sometimes counsels the establishment of new ecclesiastical regions. Thus, the needs of apostles are better met and keep with social and local circumstances. Then, too, the relationship of the bishops with each other and with their metropolitans, and with the other bishops in the same nation, and even between bishops and civil authorities, will be rendered easier and more fruitful. Right, so all this is saying, hey, some of this coordination can go by at the local level. We need to be clearly defining which dioceses are under which archdiocese. For all of us who live in the 21st century in the English-speaking world, I know most of my listeners, the majority of my listeners are in the U.S., and then you have Canadians, Australians, UK, Ireland people. All of us have pretty clear as far as I know, so it's not really an issue. And hopefully this helps coordinate apostolate in the local area, right? Not just in that local diocese, but in that ecclesiastical province. So, we're going to go into paragraph 40, which is rules for defining it's rules for defining ecclesiastical province boundaries. Sorry, I looked at my notes. I said, wait a second, those aren't it. And there's really 3, which are each numbered. The first was review the rights and duties of metropolitans. 2 is removing dioceses outside provinces. So some dioceses were dependent on the Vatican, the Holy See, the Rome directly, rather than under our archdiocese, and that's ended with Vatican II. And then 3 is making ecclesiastical. 3 is making regions of several archdioceses. So little slip up there. Sorry. So let's go on to 1. To introduce these numbers, it says, therefore, in order to accomplish these aims, this sacred synod decrees as follows. 1. The boundaries of ecclesiastical province are to be submitted to an early review, and the rights and privileges of metropolitans are to be defined by new and suitable norms. Right, so this is often too vague in the past, need a clear review. We want to kind of standardize it so metropolitans have the same duties over the other dioceses throughout the world. But even since Vatican II, this is constantly changing, right? So I mentioned the Archdiocese of Las Vegas in there beforehand. Some of you might be like, oh, I thought Las Vegas was a diocese. Well, it wasn't until recently. It was only in 2023 that Las Vegas was split off was made an archdiocese and split off from San Francisco. And with it, with Reno and Salt Lake City. So now there's that province of those three, that archdiocese and those two dioceses. So let's talk talk about two, which is ending these dioceses outside of ecclesiastical provinces, outside of the authority of some archbishop, even though his authority is very limited. Let's read it. As a general rule, all dioceses and other territorial divisions that are by law equivalent to dioceses should be attached to ecclesiastical province. Therefore, dioceses which are now directly subject to the Apostolic See, or which are not united to any other, are either to be brought together to form a new ecclesiastical province, if that is possible, or else attached to that province which is nearer or more convenient. They are to be made subject to the metropolitan jurisdiction of the bishop and keep with the norms of the common law. This is just standardizing the structure across the world. It's not fancy. It's just saying, hey, we want to standardize this. We want all the dioceses to be under an archdiocese. And sometimes it's just like, it doesn't always work out well. For example, the U.S. Virgin Islands are the only diocese under DC because that's just the only one that fit. DC didn't have any other diocese under it. So St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands, I think is what the diocese is called, is under the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. So we're moving on to point 3 here, regions of several dioceses. Let's read it. Wherever advantageous, ecclesiastical province should be grouped into ecclesiastical regions for the structure of which juridical provision is to be made. This is just a different level of coordination, right? And these different levels of coordination have different authorities and different circumstances, but to have these various levels for different levels of coordination, right? In the U.S., for example, the U.S. CCB has divided the U.S. into 15 regions, or 14, depending on how you count, because one of the regions is basically like all the non-Roman rights. So all the other ones, so 14 geographical regions and then one region for the non-Roman rights. And that's an example of these regions. And numerous archdioceses and dioceses are in each region. And the bishops do some kind of coordination things among those various regions. So let's go to paragraph 41. It's about bishops' conferences suggesting changes to regions or provinces. Let's read it. It is fitting that the competent episcopal conferences examine the question of boundaries of such provinces, and the establishment of regions that keep with the norms given with respect to diocesan boundaries in Numbers 23-24. They are to submit their suggestions and desires to the Apostolic See. So 23-24 is about diocesan boundaries, defining it, so that's just basically what you would expect there. And this allows the local knowledge of these, the dioceses, the bishops, etc., to help out the Holy See to suggest things like that. I don't know exactly the process, how Las Vegas became an archdiocese, but I can imagine some of the bishops here in the U.S. were involved in those suggestions. So hopefully that's helpful. So thank you for listening to this episode of Vatican II in a Year. This is a listener-supported podcast. You can donate to help StarQuest produce it and other great podcasts at sqpn.com/give. You can give one time, monthly, or join the StarQuest Patreon. Tomorrow, we are going to continue with the last paragraphs of Christus Dominus, 42 to 44, on coordination offices between bishops and the conclusion. Please join us then to learn more about Vatican II, which provide a blueprint for the Catholic Church. Go to sqpn.com/Vatican, frmatthewlc.com/Vatican, or Vatican SQPN on Facebook and X for more information on the podcast, such as playlists for individual documents and a reading plan. Amen.